This video is going to explain how we designed the program that we're following in the Planche Maltese training series. We're doing this to give you guys an understanding of the thought and strategy behind the program and how it's going to ensure that we succeed in achieving our goals for both Planche and Maltese. We think this will be beneficial to you guys to look at your own training and what you want to achieve and applying some of the strategies we're using here in your own training, and it should just help overall.
Starting from the top, we emailed each other so that we had the program in writing, but look after the environment and do not print it off.
Also, you've always got it with you because now you've got your emails and your phone. Even if you're out at the club, you can still check what you're doing tomorrow. It's just more convenient. You don't need to have a specific computer. You can check it on whatever medium you want.
So we start off with our goals, which we're going to be going for on the 9th of November.
It's obviously most important that you set your goals first so that you have something to work toward. Otherwise, what's the point of your program? You have to set that goal. What do you want to achieve and what's a reasonable amount of time to achieve it? Once you've set that, you can then start to get more precise and bring it down to the day-by-day planning like we've done.
So there's two goals. The first goal is a planche lean on the parallettes with bent legs. The second goal is a 67.5 degree lean on the rings. For details on how we came to those two skills as the goals, check out the workout video.
Now that we've cemented our final goals and what we want to achieve, we set working set goals. What this means is the exercises that we set to train to build up to these goals, such as push-ups in the Maltese position, planche negatives, all the exercises you see us doing in the series, we set goals for those exercises as well. Obviously these are much more incremental and not as significant to us, but they're still important that we achieve these to ensure that we're making progress on each particular exercise. We tend to structure the workouts quite consistent in the exercise order, so most of the time we'll be doing the same order each day. Sometimes when we're training in a gymnastics center, we'll be swapping the exercise around a little bit, taking advantage of the extra equipment at the center and also shuffling the order just subtly, but just to sort of make us work that same exercise but under more fatigue, and also working different exercises being a little bit fresher. So we won't go through all of them now, but you can check the link in the description below to see this whole document so you can see exactly what our goals are, what our working set goals are, and what exercise we're going to be doing for each workout. It took about maybe 2 hours to write it all out, but I feel it's certainly worth the time because now we can sit back and relax and know that we've thought really thoroughly about the progress between each session so that we know it's going to be challenging, but it's not going to be out of reach, and it's going to take into account the previous workout and also the coming workouts.
There's nothing like having a program written so that when you get to your gym or get to your training session, wherever it may be, you know what's being asked of you for that session. I've had times where I would just rock up to gym or where I was training and just make it up as I go, and it's nowhere near as rewarding or as effective as a training modality.
Yeah, I find that for me the problem is if I try to just do what I feel like, you might start a set and then 1 or 2 sets in you'll start feeling like, oh maybe
maybe this,
do this
maybe
today.
that.
Yeah, it's just, no. You want to just be strict, set it, do it. Boom. Be like us. If we now look at day 1, let's talk first about planche negatives. Obviously, we're doing planche negatives because they are a direct training of the planche. We're going from the handstand, which takes no strength really, down all the way through into a planche position. It's building our balance awareness of the planche It's building our front delts and chest exactly the same way that a full planche would. We're simply not leaning as far as you would in a full planche. And it's building the ability to enter the planche from above, which is important. You don't just want to be able to hold the planche, you need to be able to enter it from different positions. So that's why we're doing negatives. Now, on the progress for the negatives, we like to measure all our exercises where we can, whether that's with how much you're leaning, how many reps you're doing, how much weight you're doing. With negatives, it's quite difficult because all the angles and all that are on your own body, so you can't just lock it, You try to, but because planche negatives are so hard to measure objectively, we're going to be very much watching each other each workout and counting to 10, so we have that really slow negative, and enforcing consistent body shape. And as we go, we're going to slowly be trying to lengthen out our bodies throughout the 6-week period. So it's a tough one to measure, but we think at the moment that's the best way we can do it. Next exercise we've got written down is the ball lean, or the Swiss ball lean. The Swiss ball essentially keeps your feet up so that you don't need to have the strength to do it yourself. Obviously that's a balance thing anyway that you get when you hit the full planche. So it allows us to simply roll back and forth toward the full planche position. Previously, it was hard for us to track our progress on this because we'd just be sort of leaning and looking at the angle of the arms and thinking, you can obviously see it's getting better, but we wanted to be as objective as possible and measure everything as much as possible so that we can really see our progress in this series. And again, if you watch the last workout that we posted, you'll see that we have started to measure the amount of lean. We measured the distance between our hands and our shoulders, and obviously that indicates how far you're leaning forwards. So now that we've measured out how far we need to lean to have our hands by our hips, which would be a full planche, and we also measured how far we can currently lean, we've been able to write out exactly what we're at now, where we want to get to, and then in each workout we generally add a centimetre to the lean. So just to go through it quickly, day 1 and 2 we didn't write specifically because we hadn't yet measured our lean. Day 3, which was a workout we just posted, is where we measured it. You'll see my lean at the moment is 30 centimetres and Tyson's is 28. Now we did that workout yesterday and it was quite challenging for both of us. So day 4 is the same, 30 centimetres for myself, 28 for Tyson. That way we're gonna we should be, you don't really gain strength in one day, so it's probably gonna be as difficult, if not slightly more difficult, because we'll be more fatigued. In day 5, we then step up. For me it's 31 centimetres, for Tyson it's 29. So we're going 1 centimetre further, which really, I'm sure we can do that because it's not that far. If you think about it, 1 centimetre is that much, and because that's so small, I think mentally I'm just going to push myself to do it because it's not that much, A strategy we've implemented in this training program is that of small incremental gains that will build up over time to become a big change. Those incremental steps should definitely be feasible. You'll notice we generally are stepping it up 1 centimetre per session. There are some consecutive sessions where we stay on the same number of centimetres lean, because that way it'll help us sort of master that level. If we were to just keep going 1 centimetre, 1 centimetre, 1 centimetre, eventually it's going to be unsustainable at a certain point. So this way we tried to step it up, leave it at that level, step it up a bit, leave it, step it up, and so on.
If you've been watching the other Maltese and Planche workouts, you may remember the tuck planche lean exercise that we were doing just on the flat ground. We eliminated that from the program simply because the lean planche with the exercise ball is a very similar exercise, and we believe what we've written for that exercise is enough.
We also felt that the main benefit from that tuck hold was generally the balance aspect of it, because it was quite hard to balance initially. However, in the planche negatives, we're training the balance as well. So, you can do a million exercises, but it's best to just pick the perfect ones, or the ones that can give you the most benefit, and try and focus on them. With the lifting the weight plate above the head, that was very simple to program. Because we're using an external weight, we can easily alter that weight. So we've basically stepped it up to a heavier weight plate with lower reps, and over the coming workouts, we'll slowly be increasing the reps. The planche to back lever is very much the same story. We can alter the weights, so we've been increasing the weight, reducing the reps, until we build up to our new weight and rep goal. With the supinated Maltese push-ups, we are swapping between the high parallettes and low parallettes. A high parallette, it's simply one like this where there's probably about 20 centimeters of height on there. Tyson is expertly holding the low parallette, and there's about 5 centimeters of height there. Now the difference really is this just means that your body is more horizontal when you're using this one because you're not propped up as high. Obviously if you're doing this against a wall it'd be very easy. You can think of this as just sort of bringing the weight down more. This one is very close to the floor. We're alternating between the high parallette and the low parallette because of the tremendous amount of strain these push-ups put on your chest. I feel it's important for us to be alternating between higher reps on the high handles and lower reps on the low handles, mainly because of how much pressure they put on the chest. We were doing a regular workout doing this exercise and I felt a weird sort of pop in my chest. Turned out to be nothing at all, but it did scare me enough to stop working out and just ice my chest for the day because it was a really weird sensation. We're going to be building the reps up on the low ones, but every now and then you'll notice we go back to the high parallettes with higher reps just to take a bit of that pressure off. That will ensure that we don't get any tendon rips or anything in our chest. For the Maltese and Victorian lean, as you saw again in the past workout, if you haven't watched it yet, check it out.
If it isn't obvious enough.
Yeah. Honestly,
it's a prerequisite to watch this video, really.
Yeah. You'll get the most out of all these videos if you do watch the prior videos. Otherwise you're going to be missing out a lot of stuff, so definitely watch them all. As stated in that previous video, we are now using a protractor and we're simply going to be holding it up in front of our eye with the subject behind there doing the exercise, and we'll be lining them up on the protractor to check that they're leaning at least the specified number of degrees. This might seem pedantic, though it's along the lines of our stress on measuring every exercise and making sure that we are progressing incrementally. Particularly as with these leans we'll often be changing the amount of degrees and increasing or decreasing the length of the hold time-wise. So it's important that we are indeed leaning more some days, leaning not as far the other days. Weighted pulls, they're just one of those great exercises that help with a lot of different areas, and it's also helping work again the back, which isn't quite as intensively worked during the planche and the Maltese as the front of your body is. It's very important to do the back side of your body to keep that healthy body balance. Craig Baxter has been a big influence on this one as well. He has demonstrated time and again the pure benefit of just simply doing pull-ups and dips. He trains them primarily. In fact, when he first started training, that was pretty much all he did, and he got to a really impressive level of strength purely through doing them. So pull-ups are always a great exercise to add into your training program. Weighted dips, quite similar to the pull-ups in that they're just a great staple to have in your training. They really do pump your chest. I feel it in my triceps, really minor, but mainly in my chest. And obviously your chest is very involved in Maltese and Planche, so that pump is obviously helping it get stronger, and that's going to carry over into both Planche and Maltese. Impossible dips, these ones are mainly targeting our triceps, which don't really get utilized in most of the other exercises we're doing. And these also will carry over into a different skill that we're both interested in achieving, the impossible dip. That's not one of our priorities right now, though it's definitely a skill that we'd like to achieve in the future, and we particularly like that it works the back side of your body, mainly rear deltoids and triceps. So we hope this has given you guys a lot of insight into how we made our program, why we did what we did, how we're intending to progress, and I hope this gives you the power to sort of go out there and write your own program, being more educated and giving yourself a higher chance to succeed in your own goals.